Lord says, then karmanyevadhikarasya, then the action you must perform. You should not remain, inactive. And then at the end he says, if you love me, if you are a bhakta, then I say, man manava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namastu. You do whatever. But friends, after saying all this in a true democratic way, Lord says, I have shown you different ways. I have given you different explanation why you should do your duty, why you should fight. But what he says, think about it properly, analyze it properly, look at different angles, and then do whatever you feel is correct. Iti te gnanam akhyatam guhyat guhyataram maya vimrushya etat asheshena yatha ichchasi tatha kuru. Do what you like. Friend, in the whole world you will not find any religion, any religious teacher who will say, I just show you different ways. Because human beings have different type of nature. And then I will say, now you choose the way which is best for you. I just show you the way. I don't tell you you must do it. If you do this, you are with me. If you don't do, you are against me. And that is, friend, the most important thing. I end with my presentation with a wonderful, discussion again we had in Heidelberg. There was a question, very interesting question, whether Hinduism is a religion or not. Whether Hinduism is a religion or not. And Hinduism in the sense of Sanatana Dharma, not in the sense, which is imposed on it. And most of the Western scholars, they had a problem. They said, look, if we want to call any religion a religion, it must have a historical founder. It must have a historical founder whose history we know, because itihasa is itihasa. There should be a historical person who is the founder. Who is the founder of Hinduism? You have 10 of Nrsimha. What is the history? Parashurama, Ram, Krishna, Buddha, and the one who is going to come, Kalki. Who is the historical founder? And then second question they say, that acceptable sacred book for all Christians, whether they are Catholic, whether they are Protestant, whether they are Presbyterian, whether they are Mormons, whosoever are there, Bible is the standard book. No Christian will question Bible. Bible is acceptable to all. And similarly, Quran is acceptable to all the followers of Islam. But what is the standard textbook of the Hindus tell us? Is it the Vedas? Is it Bhagavad Gita? In the court you put your hand on the Bhagavad Gita. You don't have a standard book. You don't have, a historical founder. How can you call Hinduism a historical religion? At that time, at the end, where that gentleman is standing, a professor of great learning was sitting. His name was Saitenkron from Tübingen University. He raised his hand. Sir, can I say something? Now he was such a person as if consider that Dr. Radhakrishnan has come here and he is standing there and he is asking us whether can I say something. And all of us will say, please sir, come, please come. One of the great scholars. He came on the stage and the chairperson was very young. And he asked the chairperson, sir, how much time do you give me? And the chairperson was very young, said, sir, you can take as much time as you want. He said, no, you have given everybody 10 minutes. I will finish in 10 minutes. But let me ask the audience one question. How many of you have heard the word a bouquet of flowers? A bouquet of flowers. Everybody raise their hands. Second question. In a bouquet of flowers, are there one kind of flowers or many kinds of flowers? Sir, mostly many kinds of flowers. Okay, tell me, whether one kind of flowers destroy the beauty and the fragrance of the other flowers? No, sir, generally they don't. Okay. How many of you have heard a word, a salad ball? Again, everybody is. How many items are there in salad bowl? 1, 2, 5, 10. In Russian salad bowl, I have tasted 60, he said. He said, yes sir, there are many items. Now tell me, whether one type of items destroy the taste and the texture of the other item in salad bowl. People say no. Hinduism is a bouquet of flowers. Hinduism is a salad bowl where everyone has the right to state what is his concept of the ultimate. Whether he is, whether you want to follow the path of dharma or jnana or vairagya or bhakti, it is what he said has come in a very standard book, Hinduism Reconsidered, published from Heidelberg University and also from Delhi by Manohar. I will read one paragraph and finish. This is, friend, the basic foundation of all our is correct. If the above argument is correct, is it necessary to abandon the term Hinduism altogether? I don't think so, nor would it be easy to weed out a term that has been established worldwide. The term Hinduism can be retained but with a shift in meaning. It is not one religion, but a group of distinct Indian religions. Once this connotation is accepted, we can go a step further and realize the enormous challenge which Hinduism as a matter of fact offers to other world religions today. Now friends, listen. For in Hinduism, it was possible to create a culture of accepted multiformity, able to develop generous liberality and tolerance between religions and ideologies to a degree which civilizations based on Judaism, Christianity and Islam were never able to achieve. Thank you, friends. This is
sure your precious words have touched our hearts immensely and will become a source of motivation for all of us. I invite the next speaker, Mr. Michael Bush, Co-Director Educational Problems from the Maharishi University of Management, Iowa, to enlighten us with his valuable thoughts.
Daveji, I was really delighted to hear you speak about the structure of knowledge containing both inner and outer. Know that by knowing which everything can be known. And the exhortations of Lord Krishna on the battlefield of life. And Your Excellency, I was really to mathematics and arts and architecture and virtually every area of human endeavor, culture, spirituality. It was enlightening and inspiring to hear you speak of that contribution that India has made throughout the ages. And I just want to pick up on both of your themes a little bit today. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about what Vedic education is doing in the world today in places like the inner city of Chicago, San Francisco public schools, the New York public schools, and also in schools and colleges and universities around the world. And I want to talk a little bit about the value of Vedic education and the practical usefulness of it to create peace in the world, which both the speakers was such a dear concept for all of India as well. So, I'm not sure if I know how to move this forward. There. So today I'm speaking on behalf as a representative of Maharishi Vedic University, and just to create a warm invitation for collaborations with educational institutions of any kind throughout the world. to go beyond the current level of understanding of education and develop enlightenment in the students and peace in the world. Maharishi, I think, is well known to people around the world. He was a great scholar of physics, and he founded the Transcendental Meditation and TM City program, which are being used along with a curriculum of Vedic education globally in the world today. For more than 50 years, Maharishi sat with the leading scientists of the world, with Emil Prigogine, Nobel laureate in chemistry, with Dr. Josephson, who was the father of thermodynamics, Nobel laureate in physics. And Maharishi developed a deep understanding of the relationship between modern science and ancient Vedic science. And this was mapped mathematically in the Lagrangian of the unified field, for example, with really wonderful physicists. And Maharishi spent many, many hours with Dr. Hans Selye, who was the discoverer of the concept of stress in the world. And Maharishi talked about the pace of modern life, the destruction of the fabric of society as a consequence of all the stress of the pace of modern life, and the necessity to use the ancient wisdom of India in its practical form to create a completely different style of functioning in the physiology so people didn't die from heart disease and renal failure and diabetes and all these things that are the plague of the modern culture. Jonas Salk did mini symposium with Maharishi. He was, of course, the discoverer of the Salk vaccine. And in 1971, Maharishi said there was a scientific proof of a vaccine against stress. And this vaccine produced a tremendous change in the physiology. And you can see that this fourth state of consciousness, which is described beautifully in the Vedic literature as Turiya Chetana, that this actually has physical, physiological, measurable signature. And the signature of this experience of samadhi, or pure consciousness, is a state of restful alertness, where the physiology is resting deeper than deep sleep, where all of the biochemical markers that are for stress disappear, and where the brain becomes extraordinarily orderly and coherent. And this state of consciousness was published first in the journal Scientific American. It was a PhD dissertation from Dr. Keith Wallace at UCLA. This is described in the ancient Upanishads. Shivam Shantam Advaitam Chaturyam Manyate Sa'atma Savigyayaha. That peaceful, the blissful, the undivided, that is the fourth. You see, fourth state of consciousness, modern science, and fourth state of consciousness described as Atma, as the self. And so what I'm going to talk to you about today is the experience of Atma-based education. Putting Atma as the first experience, the necessary experience. But Maharishi didn't stop with just developing programs for meditation and the advanced techniques of meditation, but based on Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Maharishi reorganized the entire Veda and Vedic literature, Rig, Sam, Yajur, Atharva, Shiksha, Kalp, Nirut, Chand, Yosis, all of it into a perfect science of consciousness. And in that structure, Maharishi pointed out that the structure of the Veda mathematically is exactly the same as the structure of the unified field of physics, the basis of the physiology in the DNA. It's an amazing thing to see the mathematical structure of Rig Veda, for example, and the sequencing of the DNA. It's identical. So the laws of nature that were described by the ancient rishis, and this is a chart that shows the layers of human physiology, from the actual systems, organ systems, endocrine system, all the different layers of human physiology, ending in the DNA and the subatomic particles, and culminating in the unified field. And it is in the unified field, it says in the Vedas, Riksho Akshare Parame Vyomin Yasmin Deva Adi Vishve Nishedu, Yastana Veda Kim Riksha Karashati, Ya Ittat Vidusti Me Samasate. The rikshas of the Vedas exist in transcendental consciousness. If you don't know that, how can the Veda help you? What can the Veda do for you? Maharishi said all of these seers of the ancient India, and I am really humbled to be standing in front of you talking about this, because as a Videshi, and I mean, what business do I have doing this? But I was lucky. Somehow I got a good teacher, and he taught me some beautiful things from your wonderful culture and your wonderful history. All of the rishis' cognitions were just the laws of nature. They are no different than the laws of nature described, except that the seers of India, they saw the structure of the Veda was contained in your own Atma, in your own self, and that you could know this, know that, by knowing which everything can be known. Dr. Tony Nader, who is now Maharishi's successor from MIT and Harvard, spent decades with Maharishi discovering that the relationship between the Veda and the human physiology was also precise and mathematical. And I'll give you in structure and function. There's beautiful, beautiful 300, 400 page books on this topic. But if you just take one aspect of the Vedic literature, yoga, which everybody knows, there are 4 chapters in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and they correspond to the 4 lobes of the brain. There are 196 sutras, or aphorisms, and those correspond one-to-one in structure and function to the 196 cortical gyri in the cortex. The human physiology is made of, on all the great understandings that have been written about in Itihas and Puran, Vedant, Ram's arrows in the vertebral column, the Devatas in human physiology, Ganapati in the brainstem, Lakshmi in the heart. It goes on and on and on. The great knowledge that modern science can be used to illuminate the ancient understanding of the Vedic tradition. But how valuable is this for us? Well, in transcendental meditation, which is the one simple, effortless, we teach children at the age of 5 this technology, and its effect is absolutely profound. We know from physics that life is structured in layers of creation. The Vedas talk about this. They talk about the layers of creation. And what we experience when we practice transcendental meditation is that source of all creation, that Atma, that same timeless, immortal field, which is beyond space and time, that Daveji was talking about earlier. This immortal field of consciousness is the basis of all knowledge, and it is the basis of all the physical sciences. What happens in transcendental meditation is that the conscious mind settles down and it begins to experience finer and finer levels of its own thought until it transcends thinking and you experience pure consciousness, pure awareness. Now, why are there hundreds of thousands of children and students in schools practicing both transcendental meditation and the TM City program in the world today? Why is this happening? Why is the San Francisco Public Schools putting this everywhere? There is a very simple reason. It makes students brilliant. The experience of this state of consciousness illuminates everything else. The attention, the attentiveness of students, it increases. They're more calm. Students are more wakeful in their studies. Their values and beliefs, their self-development, all the scientific markers of development, of personality, and self-realization all increase with this practice. Their behavior improves. They stop goofing off, which is maybe not a problem in India, but it is pretty much everywhere else in the world. And kids do much, much better. Overall, their success rate in school is very, very great. They have a tremendous improvement in all aspects of intellectual performance. Their creativity, their IQ, their every single measure that you can think of, it improves greatly with this practice. Their self-control, they stop being anxious. They have decreased bad habits of abuse of drugs, smoking, etc., etc. Their motivation, their academic performance goes way up. They graduate more, they drop out less, and they have much higher academic achievement across the board in the different standardized tests. Their postgraduate academic performance is highly significantly improved by more than double. And in their personal and professional lives, when they graduate, there's more fullness, more happiness, and better health. So around the world now, there's almost 400 schools, there's hundreds of thousands of students doing this. And this is the gift of Vedic India. This knowledge comes from the Shankaracharya tradition of India. It's being practiced by Muslims, by Christians, by people who are agnostics. It doesn't matter.